Stop broadcasting.
You're live recording.
Let's see. I got rid of the thing. Okay, having an argument here. If anybody knows how to do stuff, we need your help. Because this does it every time. Okay. Every time. Okay. All right. It's oh, you know what? I can't even see you guys. Okay. I don't want you to twist your heads. Well, the dogs are, it's the howling at the wolf moon, because you might hear the doggies, and I just saw a couple of little, a husky and a malamute, my doggies, going by the window, and we're all here at the Center of Peace. And those of you who are not with us, obviously, here in person, you're here with us in spirit, and there's actually a lot of spirit activity here, and everywhere. I'm getting tons and tons of people reporting that no matter what they're doing, know what they're feeling, seeing things out of the corner of their eye, things moving around. And it has to do with a lot of things, because we are so now in present time, and we are so present in present time, that you're going to have more and more and more experiences that are multidimensional that you're actually perceiving. What happens when we were in that illusion of linear, you would think you were having things that were happening, I'm awake, I'm asleep, or I'm this, or I'm that. And so if you're confused and overwhelmed, like we've been talking about, it's because you don't even know what is going on as far as good, bad, right, wrong, fun, not fun, because everything is just, you're being forced moment by moment to be in that moment. So it kind of depends what you want to do about that. And I can tell you, if you keep resisting being in the moment and you keep in a fear-based place, it will become more and more and more and more unpleasant. If you, no matter what your lower mind is trying to tell you about being detached and in that observer self instead of in the higher mind connecting with spiritual mind, and you just surrender, things will go in a lot better pace. Because it's kind of like the movie's going, it's just like what we're doing here with this kind of stuff. It's hard to even get mechanical things to cooperate, because they're just doing what they want to do. And so that's a way to think about your life. There's no retakes, there's no redos, there's no dress rehearsals, there's no trial runs anymore. There's no cancel when you have negative thoughts, when you have good thoughts. None of that's happening. All that New Age thought that people were banning about in the 70s and 80s, that it's just not real. And it never was real, but now, let's just say we're in real time. So a lot of people in their lives rehearse their lives. That they can't do anything unless this is in place, and that's in place, or this is happening, or that's not happening. Can anybody relate? We've all been there. I'm not judging anybody. We all do it to one degree or the other. Everybody, because we're taught to do that. You're taught to put on facades. You're taught to put on whatever. Who knows? I mean, you don't even know after a while what you're taught to do or not to. And what's happened is that the layers and layers and layers of facades that are not the real you, the things that are not working, they're smashed. You can't even repair them. Because in the past, you could kind of think you would kind of start to crash and burn, and you'd pick yourself back up, and you'd slap on some more this or that, or try to, we'll fix this or fix that. And guess what? It's just not working. So this is the best advice I can give you, because we're all experiencing it. Slow down you and let the very fast reality that's happening come into your vibration. Things are moving fast. And this is the thing. Don't even try to control it. Don't even try with your lower mind to detach and think about it. That's not working. That's why nothing is working. If you have any kind of control issues that are fear-based, it's miserable right now. It's like, and we all have them. Everybody has their own ways of coping with things. So fear-based reality always makes people want to control. And so you're going to find any mechanisms that you used to use to try to keep whatever peace you were getting from feeling a certain level of control of something, it just is not working. So you're going to feel a lot of frustration. You're going to find people are experiencing it in work, in school, relationships, in your own life, every moment. You're going to find more and more and more that old paradigms, the ways you used to cope, the mechanisms you used to do, especially to guard the heart or to not feel or not allow things to pierce your heart or to open the emotional self, they are not working at all. And on the reverse side, you're also going to find if there were ways that you were wallowing or feeling sorry for yourself and staying stuck there. Oh, that was Gracie jumping on her scratch lounge. Okay. Which you can all see. Sometime you will soon. We're going to have a camera here so you can see all the fun stuff that's going on right here. It's not about emotional, not emotional. It's not about anything like that. It's more like whatever your individual self. So we can't sit and judge other people, or look at other people and think, why are they doing this, or why they're not doing that, or what's one, this isn't all scriptures of all religions, what's one man's, poison is not poison to some people. What's someone's meat is another man's poison. And it's true. It's just, you can't tell what it is right now. So there's some people who totally have their hearts pierced and totally, but that's where they stay. And it's a feeling sorry, or it's a wallowing, or it's a not ever getting out of that. So it's whatever extreme is happening for people. The extremes are being brought into a balanced place. So you will find that whatever it takes, that's what it's going to take to get yourself aligned. And it's a constant, you're almost going to feel at first like you're on a ship and you're trying to get your sea legs, and you're trying to spend a lot of physical sensations like that for people where they feel dizzy, they feel off balance, you kind of get up and you go, whoa, what's going on? And again, it has to do with, we are the great experiment in this level. We are spirit, and we are physical, and we are all the elements, we are all the different energies, and we've had such a belief system that there's a separation of the mental, the spiritual, the physical, and emotional. We've had such a firm belief that somehow we are so solid, that things are just so finite, and that they're either very finite and solid, or they're very ethereal and spiritual. And if you ever looked at pictures and see the pixels, or if you ever smoked a lot of dope back in the 70s, or whenever, just saying, I didn't have a lot of dope, but maybe one or two. Maybe I got contact high, who knows. Or, I don't know. In my case, I would have to take hallucinogenics because everything looks like that to me anyway. Those of you out there that know what I'm talking about, people back in the day took LSD or whatever, actually, you know what, all the hallucinogenics, really what they did was to open the third eye. They work on the pineal and pituitary gland. And so really what people would see is removing that veil that things are solid. That's why when people are in all what they call altered states, or people when we had the flotation tanks, people weren't on drugs. Well, they might have been. They weren't supposed to be, but they were supposed to be in the flotation tanks. But who knows what people were. But I'm just saying, people would go, very conservative people would be in the flotation tanks. So we had the sensory deprivation tanks we had for 10 years, starting in 83 to 93. And they would go, wow, really like that TV screen you had in there. I like that movie. We're going, whoa, dude, there's no movie in there. That was your movie. Because you're floating free when you were in these egg-shaped things that were wonderful. We had the first ones in the Midwest, and you're free from the pull of gravity. It's like being back in the womb, and you lose that earthy bound or that other bound. You're in that free space, and so you're all that pineal, pituitary, your brain's moving. Everything's connecting. You realize that you are spiritual, but you're physical, and you're all the things, but you're free. And your body starts to let go of things, and people would see all kinds of stuff. Well, what's happening now is that, and again, You don't have to use drugs. You don't have to do anything. You're going to have more and more where you kind of look at things and you go, whoa, I think things are moving. I think energy is moving, because it does. It's not solid. Look at pixels. Look at cameras. Blow your camera shots up. Are they solid? No. And we know that everything has an energy field. And Gracie's seeing lots of stuff tonight. She's chasing some stuff in here. Everything, even inanimate, or they call it inanimate objects, have auras. Everything has life force around it. So as those facades, as that illusion of separation starts to heal and move away, and you start to just feel safe enough to go, hey, I'm not going to be afraid of this. It's just, it's all here, whatever's happening. I am not going to try to control it. I'm not going to try to be in my brain or be in a part of myself that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to be aware that I am a spiritual being in a physical body on the earth at this time. And the earth, in spite of what you'll see in the outer world to create fear, is a safe place to be. Because there's such a created, fear-based matrix that, everybody saw the Matrix. It wasn't just a movie. And the Matrix is breaking down. And the creators of the Matrix and the fallen angels and all the dark things that have existed for so long and have been given dominion over this earth are losing their power. We're coming into that time when even the darkest of the forces, even those who fell, will find redemption. So there's an amazing shifting of things that were in a polarization. So you're going to find even within yourself, maybe you used to have very strong religious or political beliefs that were I think this belief, and I can't even see what somebody else is thinking about, you may not feel that way much longer. You may be able to, you're going to be going up more and more and more into the higher paradigm where it's not this left brain is watching the right brain, or the right brain is looking on this side and seeing the emotions instead of the logical. You're going to start to have more and more where, and that's the mystery of the Great Triangle and the power of three, is when there's no more of the duality and you come into the oneness. So you're going to have more and more of this higher place that will be easier and easier to stay in. As a matter of fact, it's going to be harder to stay in this polarized kind of place that we've all gone through. So you may find that there's a last of that ranting and raving. You get mad and there's stuff going on. Don't judge it. Just whatever emotions are coming up right now, it's very important to move them. Don't hurt other people with them. I know some people do anger therapy. If you feel stuff, get a bunch of stuff you don't like anymore and break it. Not other people's things. That's not good. But sometimes you have to get things that are in your body out. You don't want it. The point is, you don't want, the last stop is the body. That's all disease is mentally, spiritually, physically. If you're experiencing things, emotionally, and you don't process, or you stop the process, or the pop psychology, if you stuff your feelings, where do they go? They go into your body, and the last stop is that body, and then it manifests symbolically and literally in the body. It's dis-ease. That's all it is. And so again, when you feel an ache or pain, instead of reaching, most people I know don't even reach for aspirin or drugs or whatever. They just go, I don't feel it. I mean, I do, but I'm going to ignore it. It's so strange. So many spiritual people that I know, and I know why. Because we're very good at mind over matter, right? So you start to feel that stuff coming in your body, and you go, you just need to go away. I'll stay up 5 more hours. I don't need to go to sleep. I can pick up these boxes. I can move this stuff. And it's a really interesting concept because the body's screaming, going, no, this hurts, that hurts. Why are you ignoring me? And again, it's mainly because we have been taught somehow that the mind and the spiritual body are superior to the emotional and physical body. And of course, in some people's worlds, they think the physical is so the God, that people do the body, gotta run, gotta work out, but it's not in a kind way. It's a domination of the body. It's a no pain, no gain. It's I gotta work out every day of the week, and I gotta starve myself, or I gotta take, all these drugs to enhance my muscles, and just crazy stuff. It's really crazy stuff. And meanwhile, all those parts of self are real. All those parts of ourself are at one, so they get very confused when you don't listen to the certain parts. Or you all know the same thing with emotional stuff. You'll get mad, you'll start to feel stuff, you start to get agitated, start to work out, and all of a sudden you just erupt. Those things are happening now. Don't be afraid of it. But the best thing is when you start to feel whatever level, a sensation, a pain, a blah, anything that you're feeling that's getting your attention mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, move into it right away. Don't walk away and think, I wish I would have said this, I wish I would have done that, those aren't going to work anymore. As a matter of fact, those are going to get more and more where you'll start to walk, and it's almost like a bungee cord's going to pull you back till you say it, till you speak your truth. And then you're going to go, gee, that was so easy. Why was I always doing these crazy things of avoiding speaking for myself, telling my truth, or just, and again, many of the answers are many things. Not everybody is equal mentally. It's very hard sometimes. You're dealing with the outer world. And there's some people that choose to stay, I think, in a very stupid level. They don't want to see, it's very frustrating. So you can, it's like, again, Jesus and Buddha both said in different ways, don't cast your pearls before swine. It sounds like a very arrogant statement. But there's times when and again, it's not, anything I'm telling you, this is not a dogmatic, I'm just trying to share my experience and what I know after 40-some years of doing all of this in this life. It's very subjective, it's very individual, but the universal truth of it is you've got to deal with whatever it is that you are in. It's not getting on a plane and going somewhere else to find it. It's not doing anything else. Whatever it is you're in it. And you must be present in it, because that's just how it is right now. That's the way it's always going to be. So there are times that it doesn't work if you're activated and you're dealing with people who choose to stay in a very negative space. You can say what you're going to say. They may not hear it. Doesn't mean you keep hanging around with those people. Don't cast your pearls before swine. Doesn't just mean you don't speak. Sometimes it means you just aren't around. And that's where you come with certain things. And you all hear yourself talking about it. Why, if certain situations and certain people and certain paradigms are that unsatisfactory, you're going to get tired of beating your head against the wall, and then you're going to go, oh, I have free will. Okay, ding, ding, ding. But again, we're so programmed that we don't have free will, that we have to stay stuck, that we somehow are so, and again, I think it's because it's familiar. There's so much familiarity. So many times, who we're working with, who we have friendships with, who we just encounter anywhere, it pushes our buttons because we find our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, it's family dynamics. I always joke about people who are in bands. I've read for so many people that are musicians and bands and been around bands. They're dysfunctional families. You can find every person in the group that's an archetype of certain things. And it's in almost everything we do. So you're going to find that the more frustrated, the things you're feeling, you're going to get tired of bitching about it. Let's just say that. You get tired of bitching about it. And you're going to go, I'm not doing this anymore. And that's okay. And somehow, again, I think that people that are very, that take a lot of responsibility, you don't want to quit. You're not quitting. And I also think people can become very addicted to being right or being around people who don't get it somehow, and you're the one that gets it. None of this is going to make you happy anymore. None of it. You're going to start to be more and more and it's not like the mental thought of I want the easy way out. It's going to be more like, why am I here? What is my highest good? How can I find joy and happiness and peace and prosperity for myself and others? And it's said many ways, but if mama's not happy or papa's not happy, nobody's going to be happy. And it's just real. But we all have this capacity, so many evolved people have the capacity to make others happy. Because you get a big picture and you're empathic and you love people and you want to help and you want to do things. But then when you don't, there's not a reciprocal energy, the well runs dry. So, and that's where a lot of things are manifesting for people too. So again, when the place you start is with you. And again, it's not what religion teaches. Some religions teach it, but not all religions. You can't love your neighbor any better than you love yourself. You can't, how you are living your life or perceiving yourself is going to be the same thing that projects out to everybody else. So, and I think there's so many times too that we've gotten so programmed to suffer that somehow it's good to suffer, it's good to struggle, it's good to whatever. There's nothing good about any of that. That's not a good thing. So in all the things you're experiencing, feeling, going through right now, the way to heal it is do not run. Again, what does the lower reptilian brainstem want to do? You were all taught this. You just weren't taught that it was a reptilian brainstem, but it is. you're taught that there's other things. But the lower reptilian brainstem that we all have in our genetics wants to fight or flight. You're all taught about fight or flight. And it's exactly what is primal. It's very primal in animals. It's primal in people. Sometimes the first reaction is either to just dig in and fight or to totally run away. And in some cases, it's not even, there's different ways to run away. There's different ways. It's not always like fleeing. It can be like putting your head in the sand and looking the other direction. It can be ignoring your body, that's all the things we just talked about before. That's how we also flee. It's not literally running from something. We can kid ourselves and say, oh no, we can put labels on whatever other excuses we make for not dealing with things. But it's basically that lower brainstem, it's not working for people to stay stuck in anymore. Those options are not available. And they're going to get less and less comfortable. They're going to get less and less, you just won't like it. It will not be the place you want to be or visit. So as you're expanding, it's like a horse we're like horses that have blinders on. I always get this image from Spirit. It's like we've gone up and up. We're in very high spaces right now, but to get there, it's like a horse when they put blinders on so that they don't look to the left or right to see how friggin' high they are so they don't jump off the mountain. We're like that now too. We've had to have certain types of blinders on in a way to get us up into this higher self, this higher consciousness. And the blinders are off. So you're going to have other perceptions of like, whoa, this peripheral vision, being able to really perceive, feel like you have eyes in the back of your head, or feel like you have, and we're made in the image of Creator. So we have the powers of being omnipresent, omniscient, all the different, if we were made in the image of Creator and we were given free will, then we have these abilities. And so it's this conflicting thing of what is spiritual truth and what is religious dogma. So you were not born in sin. You were not none of the things that different religions teach are real. They're there to control and manipulate people, and buy salvation, basically, or whatever. And it's again, it's not working, because people, Holy Spirit speaks to everybody in their heart individually. When I speak of spirit, I'm not talking about a spirit guide. I don't work, that's not my thing. I've always felt Holy Spirit. And she feels like a very strong feminine, divine feminine aspect of Creator. If there's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, it's like I've told you many times in the Baptist church, I got in trouble all the time. I would say, if they're all three men, how did anything get created? They got really upset about it. Because it's like, yeah, well. So again, the personifications of all these things. So, and the Holy Spirit is very much like Sophia, the great wisdom, in the Kabbalah. Sophia, White Tara, Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene. There's many faces to the types of that divine feminine energy. And it's something that has been lied about, suppressed, denied, ridiculed, used to be very honored. We've gone through these cycles of patriarchal supremacy or supposed supremacy, and we're no longer in the time of any of that. Again, we're in the time of the joint rulership of the male-female. It doesn't work to polarize. So there's so many people, when I talk about this, they get very mad. I get, things about it. And it's not the time now that the goddess is going to jump out and go, hey, we're going to kill the man now. We're going to rule. It's very unattractive, women. The people that think this, I just can't, it makes me crazy. It's like, do you not get this? It's never good to have this one thing or this other thing. It's not a good thing. So it's about the yin and the yang. The inner psyche of a male is female, the inner psyche of a female is male, and it's not about, this is the problem, the domination or perception of this male-dominated, and then we had female, it's gone on forever. There's been times when the Divine Mother did rule the earth, and then that fell into depravity and negativity as well. I mean, that's not the answer. The answer is the yin-yang. The answer is Creator, Elohim, means in our image we made them male and female. So it's about, again, if you ever, when you see the eagle or the phoenix that has the double-headed eagle or phoenix, the Masonic lodges use them, different countries use them as symbols, but it's an ancient alchemical symbol, and what it really means is the male-female in joint rulership. It's the king and the queen, or the queen and the king. That's why it's double-headed. It's one body, two heads, and they both have crowns, and there's another crown up above their individual crown. And so it's all about the time we're in. It's the joint rulership of male-female. And so that's all the things. Are we ever going to have a female president? Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I've always thought the best thing would be to have a male-female. Or it's like even ministers, where there's a male-female. I mean, it's like, so it doesn't get into this thing of this polarization. And again, how do we achieve that? Do your inner work, because that's what your inner work wants to do anyway. That's work on finding that balance of the male-female within you. Work on how do I integrate and heal enmity that may exist within my own being about what's male, what's female, what's all this. And it's a very real subject because there is enmity. Every day I hear from men and women, well, women are crazy, or all women are like this, or women will say, all men are like that, or men always do this. Say, what? It's like, really? What does it mean? That's why I say to people, what does that mean? What does that even mean? And it's about what you do. So if you are a participant in polarity or limiting how spirit can heal the enmity, you are by staying in a lower belief system about what men are or what women are. And it's reflected all through music too. Love hurts, love's pain. All this, and yeah. You know what? Unconditional love does not hurt. But I'll tell you what does hurt is conditional love. Conditional love is extremely painful for yourself or others. Is if I love you if you don't do this. I love you if you'll do this. This emotional terrorism that people fall into in relationships is bizarre, and it's not natural. It's extremely unnatural. But we've been taught to, it's really how dark forces have done their best job, is to divide and create enmity between the male and female. It's not a real thing, and it goes back to all the lies about, the earliest creation myths, say the Great Mother created everything, and in her loneliness she created a son who then grew up and said he created everything. It's not. Adam came first, and then they took his ribs, and then they made little Eve. It's not the original stories. So it's like all that stuff. There was Lilith. There were all kinds of beings, all kinds of things that were going on, and and it doesn't matter which came first, the chicken or the egg, because we all have. It's like the yin yang. We all have a little bit of male, a little bit of female. Everybody has. So this perception of judging things based on outward just physicality of what sex you are is ridiculous. And in my opinion, growing up and seeing women come into empowerment in the late 60s, in the 70s, it was horrific to me. It was to see women who would get powerful positions and jobs emulate the worst qualities of men. And I mean, people were burning their bras, and I just never wore one. I had to burn it. So back in the 60s or so, it's just kind of like, whatever, girls. Why are you so angry? Why are you so mad? I was always in the peace movement, not the anti-war. I was trying to do a more peaceful thing with all. But it's like, and we see it today. I get people all the time talk, how much they don't like their female bosses. But again, I mentioned this a few articles ago. They did this really interesting, it's all over the internet, study where they had an audience, male-female audience, and they had actors, a male and a female, applying for the same job. They gave them a script, told them the same thing, and everybody thought the woman was a bitch and was arrogant, and they thought the guy was great. So there you have that. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's all over the internet. It was a great experiment because it's that same thing. If women are assertive, there's a projection of a whole other thing. And it works the other way for men too. If men are in touch with their inner feminine and they are sensitive, then they project weak, that's weak. So it works. It's not just women, it's like men also. And what I dislike the most too are, people, there's such a predatory thing about people owe people, I'm going to take all his money, or get people in here. Just this crazy ideas about relationships and what people owe them and what people should. And if we lived in a more natural state, people would do the right things, and they don't. And that's the sad part too. People get totally persecuted. People that when they go through separations, they go through things. There's an inequitable thing that happens to you. It's horrible. I wasn't talking about you and the other one. There's middle path. There's middle road. We don't have to hurt each other. But we see it everywhere. Everybody's so happy, and everybody's trying to, somehow, it's that fear-based of, how do I get one up on somebody, or how do I manipulate to get what I want? You don't have to. To get the happiest things in your life, you figure out what makes you happy. You all know what you don't like. What's not making you happy, stop doing it. That's the first thing. That's pretty clear. I think we all know what we do not want or like anymore. That's not a big mystery right now, because that's pretty much in everybody's face. It's what is not working, what you don't want to do. So you just figure out ways to productively not do that. You don't have to get crazy and destroy your life, but you want to take action, because that's the other thing. If you get it and and you keep saying this stuff, you're really going to suffer. It will really be a bad story for you. So, and then the thing is, I keep seeing around everybody right now, and it's a really funny picture. It's like there's this giant piñata, and it's shaped like a rainbow. but it's giant. At first I was seeing it over different people that came in for readings, and it would be like, I'd have to really look, and then I started seeing it like everywhere, and I started feeling it over I thought, what is this over my head here? But it's like there's a giant pinata over the earth right now, and over your own being, and it's already, you don't have to hit it, it's already got stuff trying to fall out, but guess what, it's got to have a place to go, because you don't want to get suffocated by it, you don't want to get drawn by it. It's trying to find a place. So again, on all levels, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, where you can clear and let go and release, guess what? All the stuff's right here. It's going to start to come in, and it does. It's amazing. It's absolutely real. It couldn't be more real if... I'll give you a little example. I won't go into the whole long story about it, but I had a vehicle since 2006, and for the last couple of years, only had 57,000 miles, but it had a lot of bad juju around it. It was, a lot of you, back in 2011, we had a flood, and the 20th, I was headed to Serpent Mound, went ahead and went anyway, and the 21st had a severe accident. Found a voodoo bag under the seat. Brenda had an identical Durango to mine, and when she was cleaning out the car a month later, she found a little voodoo bag under the driver's seat, and she was actually driving my vehicle, my black van, when we left Serpent Mound and had a severe accident. And then Adobe, my dog, who's now in spirit, found another voodoo bag, and she had gotten severely sick, and they had done this operation and taken stuff out of her. They didn't even know what it was. She and Sky both, after the flood, I had to put a fence up. And the guy, we were gone doing something, I don't know, speaking, or so I was still here in town, but a few weeks after that, the dogs were barking, so the guy that does some things for me said, well, you're going to get really mad at me, but I couldn't control the dogs. They wanted to grab this one fence. They both ran to a tree and found a voodoo bag that was leaning against my tree. Yeah. So, and I'm not going to talk about this stuff. So whoever did that, guess what? Whatever. Guess what? But that was amazing. The dogs found, Adobe found the very thing that was probably used why she got sick. Yeah, on and on and on and on. I can tell you many, 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 many stories like this. But I won't go there. People through the years have been jealous of me, and back in the 80s, there was somebody would call, people thought I had died. There was an older woman, she's actually dead now. She would call people would call her and say, oh, you heard Marilene die. I mean, just crazy. I don't even talk about this stuff because it's so negative. I have come under psychic attack for so many years that I can't even tell you. Anyway, so that car epitomized to me a lot of things, because it was actually, I bought 4 cars from this one place, and especially the last 2 had not been, it was like the end of the deal kind of lease or buying, that I really didn't want the car, but it was like, well, you have to take it, I can give you a great deal, blah, blah, blah. And cars are your physical body. So it had this one since 2006. And I actually had some other really bizarre things happening. So in the last few months, all kinds of electrical things were going on, and you'd get in the car, and sometimes there was something in the cylinder, it would start, or I'd have to get out of my car and lay across the seat and start. And then other times it'd go for months, it was just bizarre. It had its own things it was doing, just all these bizarre things. So Merlin comes home, and I thought, I knew I wanted to get a car. And then I had to get a different car. So pick him up at the airport. He actually drives. We drive. This is around 23rd of December, whatever. So we go to Mama Corolla's tea. We're in the car, there and back from the airport, nothing. We come out of Mama Corolla's, we open the door, and it smelled like somebody had lit a fire in the car. It was the most bizarre. We both went, oh, what's that? It was like, just literally smelled like somebody had set the car on fire. And we're going, and Mom goes, well, maybe it's my computer. I go, I can't imagine it's your computer. He goes, but nothing was acting like this in the car. And so I know, it's really strange. And it was really strange because it was, and it also had a smell of almost like a chemical. It was, I can't even describe it. So I said, well, I almost got a rental car before you came because I just have a feeling something's going on with this car. And all of a sudden, the next day or a couple days later, he goes, okay, this is what we're doing. my little bossy son, because I had an idea in my mind. Actually, Nancy and I were going to go together and get a good deal from a deal. And so somebody else out there, I thought I was going to buy a car through, but my son did this. He got this idea in his head, and it was amazing because it was actually a wonderful bonding for us because it was interesting to just see him. He had a friend, and again, I would never, I mean, I've had Jeeps and Durangos. I'm used to big cars. I'm used to, feel safer, and I don't need a big fancy car or anything. But you need a four-wheel drive in this weather. So he said, "You're getting a Lexus." And I go, "No, I'm not getting a Lexus. I don't, Mom, just trust me." So he knew a Lexus dealer in California, so he knew exactly what to do. So he gets online and he wheels and deals, and trust me, there's ways. I won't talk about it now, dealers, but there's ways. I was just in shock just to watch him. He called all over the state, and if you can't give me this deal today, then I'm going to drive to Maryville, and if you can't do this, then I'm going to go. And it was like kind of scary to watch him. It was like, oh, better you than me. That's good that you can do that. It was awesome though, and he just said to me, he goes, "Mom, you've had that car how many years, and you have 57,000 miles on it? And now it's a better deal sometimes to lease a car." So he got me this incredible lease. So I have the smallest SUV of a Lexus. Well, and I never thought, "Ooh, I want a Lexus." He says, "You don't need an American car." And I just never thought, and I just don't think about cars that way, But I want to tell you something. The second I got rid of that other car, I can't even tell you. The color I wanted, they didn't have it. I went from Michigan, and the snow hit, so picked up the car this last Saturday. The second I dropped that karmic mobile off and got in that fire agate, it's a dark brown, sparkly, beautiful, and drove off. I mean, you can ask about it. The second, all kinds of amazing things started to happen. I mean, I can't even tell you. Doors opened, phone calls happened, things I've been wanting to happen all of a sudden became available. It was like moving on up. It was just weird because you wouldn't think of it being literally that way, but it was. Of how much, because again, it wasn't important to me, but it made me feel good that he goes, "I want you," the reason I'm choosing that is he researched it. They're the best thing. They're reliable. Even if anything happens, they cover everything. It's just, you will never have to worry. And there was some money down, but not at all like what they said you're going to have down. He paid it for Christmas, but it was just amazing. It was just this cool, it was just this neat idea that he wanted me to be safe. And so that was the best gift of all. It wasn't so much that he wants Mom in this luxury car or something, but it was like, I can't even explain it, but it was awesome. But all kinds of other stuff started to happen, and a long time ago, I used to live in the penthouse at 16th and Meridian. And my good friend Carrie, she kept saying, "Hey," and I'd been up there a few years ago when they had rented it. I lived there in 77 to 79. And I'd been just craving to go back up there. Well, 2 nights ago, we went up there. And you all saw some of the pictures. The one picture I put up with the big, giant orb. It's like, yeah. So, and there's going to be more going up there and probably utilizing that space. I'm probably going to do a workshop up there and do some kind of retreat up there. So it's amazing to think of 77 to 2014 and all the readings I did up there, and all the stuff I did up there then, and to now be all these many years later and being able to probably rent it out and do some stuff is, it's going to be really awesome. So this is what I'm talking about, present time. It's like that right now. Bits and pieces from different eras of your life are going to just appear and click. So it was one of the most interesting things. When I had the penthouse, you had to have your front door is the elevator. You have a special key. It's like Hollywood, built 1928, same as this. Just imagine this room here. It looks very similar, except it's 30 by 50. And it has an arched window that frames downtown. And it's the most amazing place you'll ever see. And to go back up there and now see it, because when I had it, I didn't have a lot of furniture. I didn't have it was real funky, and it's just real, whatever it was. And now it's all elegant, and people fixed it up. And just to sit in there, and it was heavy because I visualized this one dinner party that I had, and 4 of the people of the 7 are dead. you know, just because I was in my 20s, my friends were always older. All my friends were always older. So when I lived there, I was in my late 20s. And it, you know, just heavy stuff like that, or just the good stuff too, but it was just like this, it was so surrealistic to be sitting there at how many years later experiencing this space that I spent so much time in working and doing things. And then now, you know, this capability of coming, because they rent it, you can rent it by the day or night or whatever, different thing, you know, to use it. It was like overwhelming, and it was healing. I just sat there, and I can't even describe how transformative that it was, because, and it was totally unexpected. It was like one of those just boom, 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 in the moment we're gonna came together and it happened. So be in your life. So instead of thinking or putting energy into regrets or into whatever, know that spirit, when you take action and you throw certain amounts of caution to the wind and you just are open to be and do and feel what is guiding you. But I mean, let go of stuff, let it go, because then this piñata is here. We're all covered, trust me, I see it. And it's the coolest thing ever. It is. It's not a donkey. It's not gonna crap. It's not gonna crap on you. It's not a bunch of candy. It's this huge. I swear to God, that's what it looks like. It's this huge rainbow. And it's got all these beautiful colors. And it's already, and I don't know why, but it's like opening right here. This is where it's, I don't understand why, but that's where I see it, where it's already been opened. And the more, I guess so that it can funnel, not so that you'll get, like, bombarded. It could be kind of dangerous if it all just fell on us right now. It could be overwhelmed with goodness or some other good things. So it's, but I'm telling you, the more I have let go, move things. And for 2 years, Spirit has been saying to all of us through the oracles in different ways, move or die. And it sounds very severe, but it's true. I think I look younger and different than I've looked in years. And it's because I've moved things. You, like I said, physical body is the last. I know somebody asked me if I had work done. I go, no, spiritual work. This face has not had Botox, has not had anything like this. No, it's in when you change in here, it all changes. I have seen it. I've seen tons of people, different ages, look totally different. I've run into people too that I saw just not that long ago that don't look that good. It's really interesting for physical. It's right on your physical right away right now. I mean, oh my God, if you have your moments too where, I've had moments where I've just been really, it's the heavy stuff starts to come back and I look like I'm 100 years old or something. But it's a very real thing. Just keep moving. Keep moving through it. Don't stop. That's the point. Stop in the sense of allowing it all in and to move things, but just keep flowing. I always use this image, but it's exactly what it feels like to me, and it always has on this level, but it's even more so than ever. It's kind of like being in the car wash and you don't know if your car is moving or if those things are moving or if it's all happening, because that's what it feels like, really, with what we're all going through right now. There's no perception of if we're ascending or it's descending or if it's, and I think it's because it's not any of those things. I think it's because we're just waking up to the fact that we never left the Garden of Eden. We never left present time. We thought we did, but it was all illusionary. It's not that we're gaining enlightenment. It's not that anything big is happening. The big thing that's happening is that we can't live lies anymore. Nobody can live a lie. You can try, but it's not going to make you happy. Nobody can fool themselves. Nobody can fool anybody else. We're all transparent. And it's, that transparency is going to get stronger and stronger. I mean, like I was talking about it, just when you think, yep, the Windex came out, and I see really clear, and all of a sudden it's like, crap. The big bright lights come on, and you see more stuff. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, there's even more. You're going to see, it's like a magnification. You're going to start to see more and more and more and more details, but you're also going to get the aha moments of the big picture. That's what happened to me the other night, sitting up there after, you know, not being there for all those many years, of how there's only now. Because how I even got that was amazing. I had, when I first, I'm from Connersville, but I lived out New York, different places. But when I first moved here from New York in January of 1974, through weird circumstances, I lived up and down Meridian. And when I would always notice that penthouse, because when you're in New York, you always look up and you look at penthouses. I mean, just look at stuff. You look at architecture. I love architecture. So I needed a different place to move, and I thought, I want to live there. This is how any place I've ever lived. New York, I'm really good at manifesting unusual good housing. And, because I can't live in, I just can't live in ordinary things for some reason. So it took me about 10 minutes to figure out who owned the building, who to call. I call up, of course, it's before cell phones, and wherever I called from. And the woman goes, Dorfman, I think it was Dorfman Realty then at that point. She goes, this is like stunned silence, and she goes, are you a psychic or something? And I go, well, yeah. She goes, well, the people who've lived there for 3 years just called me 10 minutes ago to say they were moving. And she was just stunned, and I was stunned, and she goes, I have literally 100 people on this list that want this place, but I'm going to give it to you because I think you're supposed to have it. So I got it. And that my whole life's been like that, is listening. Knowing something to that second, stop the car, tune in, go whatever, find, you know, and then there it is. So it's the same thing, you know. I've always wanted to do, about 3 years ago when it was under, it was, I went up there just to look at it because it was for rain. It was, people had, it was really strange. And then through interesting circumstances, got to go up there and be with the owners and hang out and just see what they've done. And it's just this, it was like, how can, it boggles your mind what kind of karma you have with places or things. And especially if you just keep flowing with it. And then the whole thing, I have the sacred geometry of the city. And when I was down in the circle, we were up on the 33rd floor taking some pictures looking north from the Chase building. And guess the only building you see, and the tallest building, is the Piccadilly. And trust me, the energy that runs through there is like unbelievable. So, you know, it's just all here. It's like ending up on the circle for New Year's Eve. We weren't even going to go out on New Year's Eve. I wasn't even thinking it was New Year's Eve. We had to go to 5 restaurants before we could even eat because everybody had reservations. We're going, why? Oh, it's New. Oh, really? I'm sitting in my house. I had to take somebody home. But it was just this weird story. So, finding out that I was this Italian restaurant, and it was fabulous. And we walked in, and the woman said, why do you look that way? And I said, don't turn us away. There's a room in the inn. So we got to these other places. And it was like, she goes, yeah, come on in. So we came on in, and it was amazing. And then we're, you know, go, oh, let's spin the circle. So we're riding around the circle. We see somebody getting married. I said, park your car. I can take some pictures. Start taking pictures. And all of a sudden, I'm up on the monument, and there's nobody around. All of a sudden, I realize it's almost midnight. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, come all these people. But it was the coolest thing, because we weren't there like, oh, let's go down and celebrate at the monument. And that's the way my life is. When I was younger, it was always like that. And you fall into, you have kids, and you have to do routine, you know. And it kind of slows some of that mojo down. You have to, you know, your life can get stuck in certain places, and different things. But I'm giving all these examples is I'm telling you, just take off in your life. Don't get these ideas about what you're supposed to be doing and not what you're supposed to be doing. Or because really, my lower mind was like when we had to take, a friend of mine was he and his little girl were at my house. We had to take him home because he didn't have his car. He was with my house. But we would never even left to go down to Greenwood. And so it was like this bizarre, it was like this, because my lower mind was like, oh God, I don't even want to go out, and I usually stay home from music because it's amateur's night, it's just, so it was just, again, spirit just guides you, and really let that guidance become integrated. Again, you're going to find more and more that it's not a separate kind of thing. It's not like a, and again, I'm not criticizing or judging anybody, but because so many people do this, be it whether throwing the I Ching every day or you've got to throw your tarot cards every day, you don't have to just do it. You don't have to look and see. It's not a separation. There's nothing wrong with reading your horoscope or doing a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? Some people are just bound by it. Oh my God. Any decision, they got to do this or they got to do. You don't need to. You just need to jump in your life. Just be present in your frequency. Your frequency is your frequency. It's not anybody else's. And we are born into this world to be free, to be happy, to be joyful. And from very early on, you're taught to lower your frequency or adjust your light to others. And it doesn't work. You'll get sick. It's what kills people. It's what kills people when you hide your light, when you have to pretend you're not who you are, or you have to, and there's so many ways that it happens, and they're tricky. Because even when you get, and I talk about this a lot too, but it's very real. I don't use that much sage anymore with cleaning and clearing. I'll tell you why. Sage is really meant to be outdoors. Or if you do use it indoors, you need to have your doors and windows open, because what it does, it really is about lower frequencies. So I use a lot of rose water. I use a lot of this beautiful rose water, the Edgar KC. It's a really good, it's purified water. It's really nice. Get it at Whole Foods or in places, but it's wonderful. It's like the Divine Mother. What I am finding, the people that are having the most resistance, or the things, it's not the heavy duty, low vibrations or frequencies. Those are all getting healed up and taken care of. It's people who have belief systems that they're stuck in, that are higher frequency. And it's really interesting. It's like, I don't even know what examples to give you, but I feel when I'm working on people, a lot of it are people who do a lot of good work on themselves, or who believe in spiritual things, but they're very fixated on a way of looking at that's very limiting to, it's just as dogmatic as what you might think of a lower fundamentalist belief system is. They're people get into a certain modality of healing. This is the only thing that works now. This is if you didn't study this, then if you're not a Reiki master, or you're not a healing, they get trapped in these same things that have happened with religion. Or people that, again, and this is a hard one to find balance within yourself, but you all just have to work on it yourself, because I'm really still working on it my own self, is limited thinking. Where is it? Because my mom was so great. It's so funny to hear people talk about Louise Hay. My mom taught all the Louise Hay books in the 80s here, right here in the center. She taught You Can Heal Your Life, and she had group after group after in this very room for years. And just amazing, it's nothing new. She did it all we did all the stuff way back in the day, and it's, and it's great stuff. It's really good material. But it's very important to find a balance of, and she would do vision boards. As a matter of fact, she had this great vision board. It's good to have things like that, but you also don't want to limit if there's something even higher than what your lower mind is projecting. Because I know we can all look back even a few months ago, or a few days ago, and you thought, this is what I want. And then you're glad, like, oh, thank God that didn't happen, right? It's like, oh, maybe, get that down from the vision board. Maybe that's not what we, so you got to find that middle road of it, because you also don't want to just go, la, 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 everything's good, I'll just sit here and maybe something will happen, but you want to, I always, every day, say, I want my highest good. I surrender to that, and if whatever it takes to have that highest good, and my abilities and why I'm really here to come through to bring happiness and fulfillment for myself and for others. You have to include yourself. I was always about, for everybody else, It can't be that way because your well will run dry. It will kill you. It has to be reciprocal. It has to be. And, you have to support yourself. So, and the more I have just let that flow, and I've had things recently too that I thought the lower mind would come in and think, well, why didn't this happen, or why I think it's supposed to be this way, where just within days I get the right answer of like, wow, it's really good that didn't happen, or it didn't happen the way I thought my lower mind or ego thought it was supposed to happen. And then you're going to get to the point too where certain things just don't even bother you. Certain things you just push your buttons like crazy. But again, notice what does push your buttons. Let it push your buttons, move through it, let it go. Then it won't push your buttons anymore. But if you never feel why it's there, if you don't go back to point of origin or try to go back, you'll never heal it. And it'll keep morphing, and it may look like a different person or another circumstance, but it will keep, those things do keep cycling, but not in a reincarnational way. Like Spirit told me 20 years ago, the reincarnational cycle is antiquated. I thought, that's really interesting. It's too hard to go through it and to come back and be born and be like a little baby, and everybody's speaking baby talk to you, and you have no muscle skills, and you're trapped with people that are like, who knows what you're going to get, and and luckily sometimes you get pretty good people, but it's a rough cycle. It's just to not stay in your body a long time. It's my mom, she wanted to live to be 125, she made it to 90, and I think that she did, and it's interesting because I really do believe that we are meant to be in our physical vehicles, and we're made up of many types of vehicles, not just the body and the soul, and there's so many different, in Buddhism they call them vehicles, that when you get those vehicles fired, if you get that over 90% of the brain fired up and the mapping in your body, and it goes in, when your brain goes into your body, you are a spacesuit. You're in your macabre, you're in your big light body, but you don't have to wait to die to be in it. You don't have to be, the rapture is happening now. It's not about somebody else is bad, somebody else is good. You're filling with light, and the more light you let in, you will. Did you hear the shift in frequency? Something just shifted in the room. Wow, I remember talking about this. That's interesting. Wow. There's like a big sound current came right through. Because it's the truth. And a lot of these things that I talk about, it just comes right when I'm experiencing it. So, when at the lowest moment, feel that low moment, but just don't hang out there. Feel it. Move it. Why am I feeling this? Where is this coming from? And then keep pushing through, pushing through, pushing through. And it's not just light at the end of the tunnel. You have light in you. You are light. The illusion is that you have to find something out here. It's within you. It's not, what you see out there is a mirror reflecting back to you. And we've been so taught to control, manipulate, if I have this, if I do this, it's all reflective. So as you heal, as you shift, as you change from within, it all changes out there. So it's not about manipulating, controlling the external reality. So we'll do a little meditation here in a minute. Anybody have a question or anything you want to ask or share or talk about? Or
something that came up for me when you were talking about present time and the experiences you've been having, because I've kind of been struggling lately, especially like holidays when I have my birthday, with expectations.
Oh yeah,
but
those.
I'm realizing if you're in present time, there is no expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part of it.
Oh yeah, it's very, very, because I hugely wanted to have this big 65th, so 65, to me it's a big birthday. I mean, and we tried to get people we tried to form a party, but nobody around me got it. Poor Glenn, she's trying to do a surprise party. She's calling my brother, who's 12 years younger, so he's a baby. Calling my son. They're going, yeah, just tell us when it's going to be. Duh. You know what? Yeah. And basically, I had the birthday party. I had no presents. Well, I went to New York. I did get to see Marilene. He'd just taken, and but it was just funny because it was just the same kind of thing. Same kind of thing. The only Christmas present I got was what Marilene gave me, the car, and yeah, it's really interesting about that. So, but what I want to do, because I didn't get to have the big birthday party, years ago, at Valentine's Day, honey, I buy my own stuff, I don't wait for people. If something comes, it's going to come. I'm not going to be sitting going, oh, nobody sent me flowers. Let's just pick out my own. So, I'm going to have a conception party. So I figured I must have been conceived. I must have been conceived, obviously, in February, if I was born in November. And so I'm going to try to get the penthouse and have a party.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yes, what a rebirth, right? So again, it's that same thing, because I was really bummed, but it was funny, because we looked at the finally I just started, okay, I'll find a place. If nobody's going to plan the surprise party, we'll look around. And, we looked at a couple of places, like the yacht clubs, or the different funky, just different thing, and it was like, it was just interesting. I actually have to be in New York, but that was great for my birthday, so that was fun. But now I know the perfect place that I want to have it. And I think it would be fun to have a conception party. I better be careful I tell people about it. It sounds could be like a wild party. Like, whoa! Could attract interesting people.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, right? Yep. So I figure, it's going to be, it'll be fun. So, and I think it's perfect because it is.
You plan your best party.
The best, didn't even know it, right? I mean, we all plan our best party. So it's we do. It's like we have those expectations, and it is hurtful when people don't do certain things or don't. But then what's even better is then when you go, okay, and then even better stuff happens. Instead of something that was forced or that was, you try to, So that's the way to, It's an interesting time. I'm telling you, this is the thing. It can change in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. That's what I've noticed too. I'll start to get feeling just like anxious or whatever. And I can switch it in a minute instead of having to, or all of it. It's mercurial. And I keep using the word malleable. It's like we're all like clay right now. We're all like this malleable, nothing's written in stone. And we're this beautiful clay that if you don't like what your life is, you are this clay that you can, Spirit wants to work with this clay. And Spirit wants to mold you into this beautiful being that you are and break through those other things that aren't the real you anymore. But there's a definite energy here that is so, it's that co-creation. It's a very interesting concept about co-creation, but when you finally, it's like unconditional love. It's not a concept. I keep saying this all the time, but it's in creation. Because if we don't create, it becomes destructive. So it's that same thing. If you let that energy and you partner with Spirit and you allow all that to just be, the magnificent things that manifest are beyond belief. And you're still going to have, we all do, you're still going to have stuff that comes up and you go, oh my God, why is, blah, 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 and this happening? Why are these people snarking at me on Facebook? Or why are these people, Oh, I had the most weird thing a month ago. It's so bizarre, beyond bizarre. Somebody that I've not seen her, thought of this person in 23 years. And one time I was doing an oracle, and this person was known to have a few mental problems, but she's very interesting. She's real powerful. This is when I used to do stuff down at Broadway. It'd be 100 people, just different groups of people. But some of you may have even been there. I used to rent out, where the Canal House is, which is again weird because it's now the Greek restaurant, the Canal restaurant. Well, I had my antique store there also in 75 to 77, and then beyond that, there's a 2-story building. It was a dance studio. Well, I used to rent. It looks out over the canal. It's right there by the next building over. Yes, that's where I met with Nancy. Oh my God, oh my Lord. What year would that have been? 80 something?
88, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my God. 88. And, oh God, so many stories happened there. But anyway, I was about 2 minutes late. I come in and everybody was sitting, and the place that my assistant had cleared for me, and so we recorded everything. We walk in, and this particular person, this crazy person, was sitting where I was supposed to be sitting, and she was pretending to be me. It was really funny. I walked, and I'm like, whoa! And and it took me aback, and she was like, well, Marilene can't be here tonight, so. Oh yeah, no, we're talking crazy.
Oh, wasn't my God.
We're talking beyond. It wasn't Nancy. No. It was one of the more bizarre moments of my life because it was like, whoa, that takes some kahunas. Then she even sees me and she just kind of keeps talking. Oh yeah. So that was just one of those bizarre. I mean, there's more to that story, but it was just bizarre. And so I had to just what do you even do? Because it was just so strange. So fast forward, and I had a few more account. Yeah, it was just, and she was in another part of the country, whatever. Middle of the night, a month ago, I put something on Facebook, something I got inspired to write. I all of a sudden get private messages from about 4 or 5 people going, oh my God, there's some crazy woman making horrible remarks about you. So I go, and it's her, 20 years or whatever later. Yeah. And saying, it was so bizarre too. It was like, just so you know. But it was in plural from we are not whoever we are. I guess it's the legion of whatever. And it was just saying, we find you incredibly boring. It was the most bizarre stuff. It was this weird wording, and I was like, delete. It was just, I thought, wow. There was that present time thing too, because all I did was really kind of bring up that situation and the present time. I thought, wow, how weird. But somebody still activated by whatever. There's a lot of that though right now. I mean, just stuff everywhere. Good things too. I mean, but it's kind of like this conglomeration. And so I think that's the whole deal, is to just know not to take it personally. And if it does for a minute, and then it was kind of like I pondered on it, and I was going to write something. I thought, no, you can write anything, delete. That's the best part. People write something you don't like, just delete it. And block them. Yeah, that was the end of that story. So, yeah, it was very interesting. So, and this is somebody that's been to India a number of times, and to Baba. They've been to the ashrams, they've been to this isn't, and I've seen a lot of that when people go into those things. That can be a path that's not always the best path either, so, yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, thanks for sharing, because it's exactly right, is let the expectation, and again, the roles, and this holiday season was really interesting for people. People were very activated this holiday season. It has to do with roles.
Not knowing what I want right now.
Right, and not knowing, right, it changes from second to second. Yep, it can just change in a New York minute. That's the part of it. It really is. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, just something that, I have something separately, but somebody else can go first. But, when I came here, you guys were talking about how, you're leaving to go to another country. Everybody's talking about if I could go anywhere, this is where I go. Well, now you just mentioned that. I feel like what I'm going through is the exact opposite of what everybody else is seemingly going through, I know exactly what I want now.
All right.
That is to stay
Here.
here.
That's good.
You know?
And that's what I'm talking about. That's right for you.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and it's funny, we made eye contact when you're like, well, all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm glad I didn't do that. And I had this huge business plan, like it would have taken my life down that path. And now I'm just sitting here and I finally decided, hey, this is what I want to do. And whoa, I'm glad I didn't do that. You know,
Exactly.
I would have set myself years back
Right.
if I would have chosen that way.
And that's what the lower mind will do so many times about business plans. And business plans are good, but I mean, right. And the thing is just to surrender